Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mistletoe Madness Overwatch Tournament. I'm and Eva, and I'm joined by the wonderful Nacho Toast. Toast, how are we doing today? How are we
We're
feeling?
doing fantastic. We're both excited. I'm pretty sure to be casting some good Overwatch games today, as we're gonna be getting into the game soon. But in the meantime, you know, lovely games ahead of us, I'm sure. What are you thinking we're gonna be looking at coming in to these series?
I mean, from having spectated from Overwatch League and then collegiate esports and things like that, a lot of time, a lot of the meta has really shifted towards that Sigma brawl composition because of the flexibility of Sigma being so great at the long range, and then everyone around is kind of being like, clean it up, all that nice stuff. And he's been very prominent nowadays in a lot of the different map genres we have, hybrid, escort, push. He's just been everywhere recently.
No, that's a very good point. I think Sigma likely is still going to be the dominant composition we're going to be seeing, but I think with the new balance patch that came out just a few days ago, there's a chance we see a little bit of tomfoolery, some silliness coming out from these teams, maybe a Mauga here or there. It's hard to say, but I'm excited to see what might get pulled out here.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of our next maps and stuff, here we go. Like we're gonna be seeing the map pool in just a couple of seconds, and it's gonna be right now. We're only doing first to three. Whoever gets three. Sorry, best of three, first to two. Right. We have control, hybrid, and flashpoint as our first three maps of the day. And of course, the classic on control is Ilios, that beautiful, beautiful Greece atmosphere we're gonna be going right into. And then the amount of flexibility you have in your compositions here is so fun to watch, especially on things like Lighthouse, things like the Well as well.
Yeah, Ilios is a map that it favors a lot of different compositions. I think if we're going to Lighthouse, you're probably going to see either a dive or a brawl. It could be a bit of a mismatch there. Um, and as we are going to be seeing, it's going to be at well first.
Yeah, for sure. Already going to well, you see the compositions already. Very interesting tomfoolery you were saying earlier. We have the hog, we have the ball on either team, which is very, very interesting to see. The point is still it has to be contested for a little bit longer. We have a good first picks here. Both one support and DPS down on the side of the Ronins, and that's going to allow Timeless Obsidian to cap that point very quickly. Now, what is Ball's game here? Be annoying, and that's what Titan is doing so well. Kind of poking a little bit of just annoyance, and then unfortunately he does go down by Doc on the Tracer.
Both of these tanks, both the Hog and the Bull, have a job right now. It is draw attention away from their DPS, and both of them have been doing a phenomenal job at it so far.
Yeah, for sure. And we gain the Tracer, scout out what's going on, who is guys on to anything like that. But speaking of guys, speaking of game first picks, that's Cosboy down for the count. That's a very big pick there for the Timeless Obsidian to continue their onslaught. The Ronin unable to really capitalize on anything. Dove going on, the soldier getting a pick on the Tracer is very, very imperative here, but the fight has basically gone back to the spawn of Ronin. That point is nowhere even close to being contested whatsoever. Look, we are seeing the spawn doors right now, Toast.
Yeah, and we're seeing Ronin's getting some good opening pick, but with what Timeless Obsidian's playing with the Moira Kiriko backline, Tracer Soldier Ball, it's really hard to finish off fights with playing a ball dive composition, right? As we just see there, Moira fades out immediately. Now Soldier's gonna be running away if they try and engage on him. It's really hard to find one person to go on to.
And as you were just saying, again, trying to drive power drive onto the Tracer, able to blink away very, very effectively. Tegan trying to, pick up this point a little bit longer. I've already 95% down for the count, and there's no contesting, no pushback from the Ronin. It's completely just been Timeless Obsidian's favor, as Dove is making a tear on the supports in the backline on the Soldier. Soldier, albeit having a slight nerf to his healing cooldown, is still such a strong pick in a lot of these compositions.
Yeah, and especially when you have a Kiriko that's likely going to be off-angling with you, that healing nerf really does not do very much. So Soldier's still very strong DPS and very consistent DPS with that.
That's a minefield on the point, however, no one really took capital to really utilize it again. The Morikos is going to be coming in, going to be finishing off the Genji, finishing off the Kiriko on the side of Ronin. It's just a matter of can we contest a little bit longer with the ball, and even the beat drop coming in from Codboy. We get the boop on Lucafor on the Roadhog, but is it going to be enough? A tiny bit more contesting coming in from Tajin, but for the third or fourth time in a row, that contest is not going to be working. We're going to be taking care of that hog, and then the objective is going in favor of the Timeless Obsidians. 1 point already on the board for them.
Yeah, and Timeless Obsidian did a really good job, weathering the storm with those dives. And we were talking about it a little bit earlier. It was really hard for Ronin to actually get in and finish off a fight, right? They might get an opening kill. They had a few, right? But then after that, everyone scatters, and then what are they going to do, right? Just try and frontline a hog? That's not what their composition is made for, right? So I know we were talking about maybe getting a little bit of tomfoolery in this series. I think this is something that, I don't know about you, Ma, but I would not have projected these two compositions coming in already. So looks like we're going to be running it back here, maybe an Alari coming in from Timeless Obsidian instead of a Moira. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, I did not expect these comments whatsoever either. Very, very kind of out there, and I'm really about it. Think of the Iari over the Moira. I mean, Iari also has really good getaway tools. That pushback she has gets you kept up in the air and then bounces everyone back off of her. So it kind of is the same idea as Moira Phase. Get out and do not touch me, right? So that gives a lot of viability for Graves as well. Now, Ronin already, I'm not sure they're able to really contest. We already see balls coming back to the backline. There's that push like I was talking about from the Yari. It's not going to be enough for Sajin to really attempt a kill there. Just keep the alive a little bit longer as Luca on that hog is sneaking with the Kiriko, and Ryan does go down in that sort of a 2v1 situation. Unfortunate but true, the objective looks like, again, to be in favor of Timeless Obsidian. We have the Soldier 1v1 here, and yeah, that's just gonna have to be how it works. Luca on the Roadhog is playing this newly reworked hero very well.
Yeah, Ronin looking a little bit, disconnected on their dives with the ball comp, even with the Soldier coming in instead of, the Sombra or Genji. You want to be, converging on the same target, and they're spreading out a lot and trying to take these 1v1s, and that's not something you can really do with what Timeless Obsidian is playing.
Absolutely, completely agree here, and I'm seeing a complete repeat of the first map where, again, they're pushing super far forward because they can afford to do so with the 5 billion hog into that spawn, and this dive that we're going here, they have no opportunity to dive on one target when they're all together against this spawn hold. Again, there is the whole hog coming in from Luca, and then we're going to be continuing that with the Sun Flare from Graves, and it just works out very beautifully again for Timeless Obsidian. It's going to be, once more, a beautiful capture hold. 50% already gone on that point, and they're going to continue to hold this space against the spawn.
Yeah, and again, like you mentioned, it's really hard for Ronin to break out of this. They do have the Minefield coming up, and the Kitsune Rush. Those could be both tools that could break them out, but mirrored Kitsune Rush, and then you have the Visor comboed with it for Obsidian. It's going to be really hard for Ronin to do anything with this, especially with the Widow Swamp here.
The Widow Swamp is going to be really good to make that space. That fear of that one shot is very much real. But we did see that it had to force everyone's back, kind of come back a little bit because, again, Agent on the ball is contesting that point, making him we got to fall back a little bit, making him go the point, and they do that very well. There's a Kitsune we were talking about, the Kitsune, and then the Visor on top of that is so strong, getting a couple of great picks here in favor of Timeless Obsidian to continue to keep this point alive in their favor. Taking on the ball once again, trying to contest, trying to stall a little bit longer, gets the pylon, but not quite for a person who needs, of course, to get ass off the Kirigo and then gain that kill. And there is the beat as well. This is a huge opportunity for Ron to flip the point, and they certainly do. Finally, a percentage on the board here.
Yeah, and I mean, really good job from Ronin to actually force the issue to point, and then that's splitting up Timeless Obsidian since they are holding so far aggressive here. We're going to see Luca get some picks coming in from the Hog, but I'm not sure if they're able to commit to the fight fully yet.
With the whole hog, however, just kind of clearing the point, getting everyone out of dodge for a second there. The ball, think you can get out of there, but the hook does bring Pagan back into the fight unwillingly, and that is a very low ball. Has to get out of there very quickly, and that means that Ronin can't really go into this fight without their tank, without even their main support. The Cowboy on the Lucio is also going down for the count, and as well as honestly both DPSs, it comes to a full reset and a full flip back towards Timeless Obsidian, and there is no time to contest even with ball. That is gonna be a 2-0 for Timeless Obsidian, and a 1 point on the board in this first of two series.
Yeah, really strong showing coming in from Timeless Obsidian right off the bat. I mean, what Luca was able to get away with immediately on that hog, right? The frontline pressure he's holding up. I think, we're sitting here watching most of these fights. He's just living in the back lines, right? It's not even a front line. He's in them, right? Now, the fight that Ronan did actually end up winning is when they just went around him and then they went to his backline, which is what we want to be seeing. Um, but unfortunately, with how aggressive Thomas Obsidian was playing, it was really hard to do that consistently.
Absolutely. And again, the Thomas Team just played like a very well oiled machine. They took fights to where they could take them, and then if they knew that okay, we won the fight, we don't have to really push any further, or we can just hold them in their spawn. They did that very effectively for a prolonged period of time. Look about control, what they did so well was just wasting time, wasting opportunities for Ronan to be like to even contest point, to even flip the point in their favor for such a long time, for like a map and a half. I would say they contested and just stalled and were like, "You can't get this point from us." And like you said, when Ryan did get the point in their favor, unfortunately, it flipped back towards Time Obsidian because they had the economy to deal with it. They had the presence on that map to just tweet them back into their spawn very quickly. So hopefully going into this next map, going into I believe it was hybrid, we should be seeing, maybe a little bit more slow paced game plan because, on control you're so like together and so like, oh my gosh. But at least here, lots of different angles, lots of opportunities to really work in your favor.
Mhm, and obviously, it depends on the map pick here, but, there's a lot of hybrid maps where it's a lot harder to run the ball, right? Especially when we're talking about things like Kings Row, Eichenwald, stuff like that. It's harder to get away with playing the ball on those maps, so it might force them to play a different composition, right? Because as much as I love ball comps every once in a while, they were really struggling, and they weren't really making, amazing adjustments to deal with the, pressure that Luca was dealing with the Hog and Dove on an off angle what the Soldier was doing, right? Um, so hopefully they're picking a map that isn't gonna just keep playing ball for them. Hopefully they're gonna be able to flex off of that composition because just watching that previous map, I think it's gonna be really difficult for Ronan to deal with Timeless Obsidian on this hog comp.
Yeah, for sure. And even though we just had the hog rework maybe a couple weeks ago, Luca has been so proficient on the hog, the pig pen placements, the hooking in, and just the trap in general nature that hog has kind of evolved around. And it's so really like kind of scary to see how well someone can pick up a newly reworked hero like that and then use it in a competitive setting so efficiently, which is again very very scary to think about. Ryan does have the work cut out for them as we move into hybrid very soon. They are going to make a very quick swap as far as I'm aware. So hopefully with also a new person of kind of subbing in, we can see a little bit more either more efficient game plan, more synchronized plays and things like that.
Yeah, so we don't have a map pick yet, and we haven't gotten word of who's being subbed in. But a new sub in a new map type that's going to help them potentially make some adjustments that they previously wouldn't be able to. They're hoping, or Doc is subbing in on Timeless Obsidian, so it's actually going to be Timeless Obsidian making a adjustment here. They're going to be starting on the defense here. Um, so an adjustment from Timeless Obsidian, maybe we see them move off of this hog comp and just play something completely different. We still don't have map pick yet, but, it's an interesting look coming in from Obsidian here.
Yeah, for sure. And going on the defense, as you were saying, probably gonna be going a different comp here. Likely that Sigma we were talking about earlier, that very meta-based Sigma that we've been seeing for I feel like many months now, right? Yeah, I bet even right now in like Overwatch contenders, there's probably a bunch of Sigmas being played, right? So very good space taking, very great shield. I would love to see also like maybe a dive comp with the Winston as well, or like maybe even not maybe even the Doomfist. I've been seeing a little bit of Doomfist being played here and there. Even though, oh, with his buff. Wait, I just forgot he got buffed. Oh, I
Yeah.
want to see more Doomfist because that
Speaking of
ultimate change. Let's talk about it.
that ultimate change is huge. We are gonna be seeing King's Row as our map type here, or our map pick here, which is gonna lead me into another character that got buffed, Ramantra. I've been seeing in a lot of games, a lot of Ramantra players in this tank, a lot of Ramantra Deathball coming in, right? With his buffs that he got in this most recent patch, he's able to weather the storm against that Sigma, you know, poke composition a lot more. He can sustain in the poke. He, can deal with the damage and actually get close enough to deal with it. So there's a chance that we see a Ramantra comp coming in here on Kings Row.
And I love the Ramantra comp. Very, very fun tank to play with. Very, very flexible. I feel like he has the poke with his primary. He has that great health of the shield, and honestly has a pretty long time to stay up for a while to mitigate a lot of damage. And then, of course, Nemesis form slash Annihilation is again very, very great mitigator of damage, and just overall very solid stuff that Ramantra does now have after recent buffs. Again, Time Obsidian is gonna be on the defense, and Ronin is gonna be on the offense, on the attack. So the plays we can make to push in and actually activate the objective. Oh, it's Winter Wonderland! Yay! Acting,
It's the best Kings
actually
Row, yeah.
it is the best Kings Row by far. It's so fun. It's so cute, and then it also like ties into the whole Mistletoe Madness. Hello, we're so big brained here.
We're geniuses.
Alright, we're getting really ready here. Kind of seeing a quick peek at the competitions being made, and on the defense, we are gonna be still seeing that Roadhog from Luca, which very exciting. I would love to see how Hog does do on the defense, especially with Pigpen being a big factor. You can put it behind the wall, put someone in, kill them against the wall. Like, hello, lots of things can happen here.
Yeah, and I think with the amount of cover and corners that we have in Kings Row, Hog can actually live for a very long time. And when you're soaking up that much attention, you have, Dove and Hopeful over here on the off angles, and they're just going to be doing a lot of work. And Ronan's going to be coming in on that Sigma composition we were talking about earlier, maybe a slight variation with the Hanzo. But they can deal with a lot of frontline pressure with that Hog, so I'm excited to see how they deal with this.
Exactly, and right, that shield coming right out. I wonder what path they're going to take. They can take it through the tail, they can take it around Monado, like the statue, but instead they're going to go over to the high ground, possibly going to utilize not the Mei wall as a way to get over there. We're going to be over to the Tracer instead, and in that time, I think Luca's just coming in for the attack, said, oh, they're coming in from behind, well, I'm going to come in as well and get some nice old picks here. One is going to have to reset and regroup once more. After that pick off of Godboy on Lucio, his heart kind of forced to reset. Hitting again, taps on the Moira once more. Gonna get again really good picks here with that primary fire, and then of course the damage orb that can kind of do a bunch of damage out.
Yeah, and once again, like last map, we're seeing Luca positioned really aggressively. He knows he can get out with that, Hog heal, and there's not much that Ronan can really do about it. So he's just living in the backlines. He completely disrupts that last rotation, and now it seems like he's a little bit too far back, but he might do just the exact same thing again.
Oh my god, look at this. The speed of the Obsidian. They're waiting to go back up again, rotating around through those stairs. And thankfully, Ronan able to turn around and kind of deal with the problem, make sure the way is clear for them as we see God LOL go back over to the Mei rather than the Tracer, which I completely agree on. I love the aggression from Coggle here. Kind of disrupting Graves' flow. And now Graves is simply near the team. That Pylon is nowhere near the team to help him out. Yeah, he's also getting the pick on Abs, which is also a really, really big factor. Blowing off Hanzo right there. But they're on the point, though. And they're going to attack that first pick possibly, and they certainly do.
Yeah, and we're just watching the supports and tank of Timeless Obsidian play in the backlines while the DPS are just taking long-range angles. It's really hard for Ronan to deal with this. As you see, look, there's just, a Captive Sun from behind. That's hard to block. You have to turn it around. You have to completely turn around, and then guess who's shooting in your front line? It's Dove, right? And I think we've all seen at this point, Dove can hit those shots. So really hard for Timeless Obsidian to deal with this if they're not going to punish the people that are in their backlines first.
Yeah, they have to deal with it very soon. Unfortunately, they only have less than 2 minutes to deal with it. Even cap the last 2 takes a point. Luca does go down very quickly, however. Even though their tank is down, that doesn't mean that they, Timeless Obsidian's out of, taking the creatures because it stays secure in their favor. But as you say that, we're going to continue capturing the objective. Hopeful does go down as well, and Daddy Dolphin on the side of Ronan goes as well. We have an even game here, even amount of players, but we do have a stronger competition going on with Ronan actually capturing the point, and Dove again on the Hanzo going to be taking some couple shots, but unfortunately it's going to be taken down by Daddy Dolphin.
Ab's going to be getting a late exit on Ryan, though, is going to allow Timeless Obsidian to set up a little bit and get those respawns in. And if Luca gets this pick, I mean, if you're Ronan, you can't really take this fight yet, right? You can hold on to point. You have a stronger point presence than the enemy team does. But do you want to hold on to point when you're getting just off-angled from a million different directions? Probably not. The 1+, Luca is going to go down. They have a lot of ultimates for Ronan, so they are able to play around things like the Fruitic Flux, the window, the beat. There's not much Obsidian can really do about that.
Yeah, for sure. Dove can be copping off the Hanzo, however, going over to the Sombra. Still a good competition here. Look at the Doom I was talking about! The Doom is real! Yes! Luca is going over to the Doomfist again, as you mentioned previously, has been recently buffed for that ultimate change in healing as in the air, 75% if I recall correctly. The virus is going to be missing, however, we're going to be putting him in a lot of pressure on that high angle. Enough for Daidono to go down once more. We're going to be utilizing the sound barrier here, and this is it going to be enough for this coalescence? And I'm not sure. I think Time Obsidian is doing a really good job at kind of keeping this fight in their favor. That's being used. That is a very low Doomfist. Game Mega Pack is humongous here, keeping them alive a lot longer. And then, of course, the rest of the team, Dove and Hopeful specifically, doing an impeccable job of just cleaning up their everyone. And now Ronin again has the payload very, very far forward, but now to get out of the cover. I think Time Obsidian is very good.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Luca go down early here, but if last fight's anything to go off, that doesn't really matter too much. Timeless Obsidian is just, again, living in the backline, and Ronin's not really responding to it effectively, right? So you see Hopeful and Dove both get kills immediately, and that just balances the fight out. Now Luca's gonna have time to get back, Dove is still here, and they're not taking any initiative with these fights.
I love that this is a well-oiled, Timeless Obsidian is a well-oiled machine that they can utilize the fact that maybe our tank is gone, but we can still get really good picks because, as you were saying earlier, the amount of off angles they're dealing with, Ronin is dealing with, is a little bit overwhelming at times. So they're gonna still stick to the little wall comp over here. We're rolling off that window, and that's unfortunately a big wasted opportunity for Ronin. And sorry, not for Ronin, for Obsidian. But regardless, Grape does get the kill here twice on Codboy. They're continuing this onslaught on the spawn doors, and unfortunately, Ronin hasn't really had an opportunity to deal with it whatsoever. Sigma not doing that well against the community, who's just up in his face all day.
No, the Blizzard could be a tool here to deal with that. I mean, again, we talk about aggressive positions. When was the last time you, as a Flex Sports player, saw somebody play where Grapes was playing with that window? That was insane, right? But plus side for Ronin here is it's much easier to punish people that are incredibly aggressive in their positioning, right? So when you have a tool like the Blizzard, it could be really good for you.
And that's the Blizzard question to utilize. And unfortunately, anyone got frozen at all. Everyone in Time Obsidian has really good movement ability, even Lifer to an extent, with the cut up platform as well as the rejuvenating dash. Being on a Blizzard is kind of a choice by Time Obsidian comp right now. 20. By the way, we have shaved off about a minute and a half on rolling time. The quick J2 stop as well. Very rush down heavy. We see the carnage, we see the melee from the axe, we see a lot of self-healing and the sound barrier being used once more in this close-knit team fight. We have gone completely around trying to get back to the car with less than a second left. And we are in overtime. Can anyone touch is the real question here. We're going to be seeing God try to touch for a little bit longer on that payload, but it's not going to be enough as Abdul Moira is cleaning everything up so efficiently, so well, and keeping the healing up alongside Lifeweaver's burst healing is going to allow Time Obsidian to, one, take that round in their favor, and two, not die whatsoever. The healing output was kind of insane.
And I think, for their credit, I think Ronin made a really good swap at the end. I think the JQ was a good idea, right? But at that point, you know, Luke is doing so much on the Doom Fist. He has an empowered fist like pretty much every, 5 seconds or so, whenever the cooldown comes off, right? So you need to be making sure you're not charging that fist with the block, right? And I know that's easier said than done sometimes. I think it was a good swap. I think it was just too late, and they just kept feeding Luca's punch, right? And ultimately, it might be a little bit difficult to have a death ball comp with an empowered fist, smacking you every few seconds,
Yeah, absolutely. That Luca Doomfist is playing so well, and I agree. I love JQ as well. Very fun tank to play with and play with as a support. Is that an emotion? So he does. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be seeing a JQ so far. I believe we're gonna be seeing over to we're seeing a couple switches here. Luca going on JQ instead. Tajan gonna be staying on the Sigma. Very, very interesting indeed. We're going back to the Sigma. No JQ mirror here, which is so unfortunate. Thumbs down, but hopefully... And listen, big JQ fan.
We love JQ here.
We love JQ here, but I agree with the Sigma pick. Like, you have that movable shield, and look at all that space that we were talking about earlier between those archways, or those bridge, whatever you want to call them, the archways, from Lord Island statue to the point. Like, you have so much to deal with. But the JQ is just gonna rip right through that ideal piece.
Yeah, what's really scary is that Timeless Obsidian can just run right through that since Ronin doesn't have the man on the team, right? There's nothing stopping that frontline presence, and as we see now, Luca playing really aggressive. There's not much they can do about it.
Yeah, look, Luca's already in the backline, kind of doing what JQ does best through a hotel. The entirety of Ronin is being forced to retreat kind of the wrong way, and I don't want to, overshadow anyone else, but Opal on the Widow is also a very scary pick, as you were talking about earlier on Elio's Ruin. The Widow pick is a fear factor. As you can see, the instant headshot. Ryan is down. We get the point within 30 seconds. We're gonna have at least 6 minutes, right? Yeah,
Yes.
almost 6 minutes to capture a point and move payload all the way over to before point C.
Yeah, 6 minutes for maybe half of point B is a little rough to deal with here for Ronin. And as they're going to start getting staggered now too, they have to take a reset here and just accept that they've lost this fight. They really can't be trickling in like this.
And again, we are throwing the ball on someone on a team who has the Sombra playing. Listen, I want to point out that we're playing over on point C. We're gonna allow our support, probably Light Fever, to chill out on point, move it as we just continue to push everyone back into their spawn. We're not even in the right spawn. But that's just how well Time Obsidian is playing. They're playing so aggressively. Oh my gosh, the Widow. Oh my god.
Got some nice ballet going on cart, but like you were saying, they're taking really aggressive fights here, and Ronin's not taking them as a team right now. They keep trickling out into this is the best team fight they've had, and they got the team wiped afterwards. Really good Suzu coming out from Ryan though.
God, love that from our Life Weaver, but again, we are playing as if we're on overtime on like almost a point 3, but no, we were pushing them so far into spawn that they didn't even have a chance to touch the payload, which is so aggressive and so well played, because that aggression can so often be countered, right? Like, if you play that aggressive, you better know what you're doing, and Timeless Obsidian absolutely knew what they were doing.
Timeless Obsidian doing a really amazing job focusing down one person. I'm sure you noticed this. The Hanzo died almost immediately after point A was capped, and that's just gonna force either a reset fight coming in or a full reset from Ronin, right? Unfortunately, Ronin not really doing either of those, and so Timeless Obsidian is able to continuously just push and get stagger kill after stagger kill after stagger kill. So there wasn't really a full team fight after point A, just because Ronin has to go and touch point, and they don't really have time to take a fight anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like also on something like King's Row, the tempo and the momentum that happens, it can snowball so quickly. And unfortunately, Ronan didn't have the tools or the capability of resetting the tempo. Everything was literally snowballed so fast. They were backing their spawn 2 or 3 times as Cart was just being slowly pushed by one person, mind you. So that's just how well they played overall. And I feel like as we see Time Assistant go through bracket, we're gonna be seeing more and more of that aggression. And are there teams who can match it? Are there teams who can negate it? Or are there teams that are just gonna fold to it?
100%. Timeless Obsidian was really aggressive, and they were taking really absurd flanks, playing weird compositions, right? But it worked for them because they were so focused in, and they knew what they were doing, right? I think the biggest thing going further in the bracket is not necessarily whether or not people can negate it, but more so can they punish it, right? Because it's not like Timeless Obsidian was playing in safe places. They would put a Baptiste over your spawn on first point King's Row, right? That's stuff that can be really easily punished if an enemy team's aware of it, or if an enemy team's looking for something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And overall, I feel like, as we keep talking about this, it's just so unfortunate that, Ronan couldn't really play that fun comp. I feel like the ball comp is very fun, very energetic, but when it's not being met with the same synergy as Time Obsidian, it does fall apart really easily. And we did see the very last minute ball switch on Ronan's side, and unfortunately, you are also dealing with a Sombra who definitely knows what they're doing and hacking ball out of ball form. And that virus as well. Again, newly reworked hero. The virus doing a bunch of damage over time is just a matter of the ball is not gonna work the same way as it would maybe even pre rework or anything like that. So unfortunate stuff all around for Ronin. But Timeless Obsidian again showcasing really really great synergy, great composition, great trust in each other as a team.
Yeah, and they look like a really exciting team to watch further down the bracket as we are going to be continuing in the future. 2-0 can mean a lot of different things, but ultimately, you can have 2-0s that are close, 2-0s that are one-sided. This one was unfortunately not super close. Our next match, we are going to be moving into Hive Mind Kittens versus Divinity Leviathan, which should be yet another pretty exciting game, and hopefully not a 2-0. Hopefully we go to 3 maps here.
First of all, it's Hive Mind Kittens colon 3. Do not
My
respect
mistake, my
that.
mistake.
That's your mistake, first of all. Second of all, I completely agree. I feel like as we move towards early or later in bracket, I really hope we do get to those third map territories, five map territories, and then in Grand's, seven map at some point, right? So we're gonna be having the same map pool here. Again, it's gonna be control into hybrid into flashpoint, and I feel like if we did have five maps, flashpoint is that mid ground where you can either roll or be rolled, and
Mhm.
that a lot of times is like that third map that some teams need to get a reverse 3-0. And I've it's always so exhilarating seeing that happen. But in a first of two series, best of three, it's more play perfect or either things do or do not go your way. It's such a tight knit series. As you can see, our map was finished in 30 minutes. So you have 30, 45 minutes to play out your mind, play that comp, play that game plan you guys have, and just execute it to a T. Periods on top.
Yeah, and with no, halftime or really bio breaks coming in between maps, there's really no adjustment. So, like you said, you're going in with your plan, and then if you adjust mid map, you're adjusting mid map. There's really no help that you can get from, coaches, managers, any other staff, right? So, if you make a bad substitution in between maps, that could be, deal breaking for you. I think what is interesting is since we don't have any breaks and we do have three maps, Flashpoint being the final one. Flashpoint, I think we can both agree, is a pretty mentally taxing game mode sometimes, especially if you just lost the previous map, right? So I think it'll be interesting further on to see how the mental's affecting on third point or on the third map, right? We might see some, panic swaps that just don't make sense, compositionally, just to try and deal with one person on the enemy team. So it's interesting seeing Flashpoint coming in as the third map because I think it is really a good test to close out a series.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still being, I don't want to say it's new anymore because it's been a couple months by now, but it's still such a, it's such a very debated map, especially if you get, Servasta over New Junk City or, vice versa. Like, it's definitely a map, and a lot of really funny comms do come out of it because of how like hectic it can become. But as we were saying, we're already be getting right into it as our teams. Hive Mind Kitten semicolon 3, semicolon colon 3, and I'm gonna keep. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. It's
You got to say the
hilarious.
colon three.
Colon 3, ooh, woo. And then the and then and then Divinity Leviathan, which is a raw name, I will tell you
It's
that
very
much.
it's a very raw name to be going as Hive Mind Kittens :3, you know?
Into
Um,
Divinity Leviathan. Like, hello. I love Overwatch team names. They're always so fun and silly sometimes.
I think based off team names, Hive Mind Kittens, :3 should be winning, just I feel like there's a little bit more power behind that one. So, ultimately, we'll see what happens here, but, um, it should be a pretty close game. Both teams are seeded relatively evenly here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just pop on the tournament in general. The seating here, you can always check it out. I believe there's like a command for that in chat. And the seating here is very, very accurate. You have teams that are going against who have gone against each other a couple times. You have teams that are so well placed that it's like, oh my god, this is like a nail biter, game three, game five that could happen here. So very, very fun stuff. We do have lineup for you guys. We do have two streams, by the way. So please support the A stream as well. Please support everyone
Don't
in
leave us, though.
production, but don't leave us though,
Yeah,
please.
don't leave us. You can have the other stream open in the
Yeah, yeah,
background,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. But
keep this
make
one open
sure
for
they're
him.
muted and we're like,
Yeah, yeah,
at 100% volume.
we're the ones you listen to here, yeah.
Mm. Oh, we have time.
We do have a little bit of time. Um, so we're gonna be moving to a break in a little bit. Um, Again, we are gonna be having Divinity Leviathan versus Hive Mind Kittens :3 coming up soon. Please stick around. Check out our other stream. Don't stay there. Stay here. Check them out, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
And we are back from our very quick break, and we have our team starting to get up and right in their lobbies. We have Divinity Leviathan on one end, and then the Hive Mind Kittens :3 on the other hand. And Toast, let's talk about it again. Control Point. We just saw a version of what could happen on
Mhm.
Control Point. What else could happen on Control Point?
Well, obviously it depends what control we're going to, but I was kind of surprised last time we didn't see a single brawl comp, right? We saw some, kind of dive variants. We saw some pokey stuff with the hog, but we didn't see any brawl comps coming in. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. But based off what we saw last game, and also some of the stuff that's going on in one of our sister streams that is going on that you should have in the background as well. Um, there's a lot of hog being played right now, so I would not at all be surprised to just see more hog comps coming in now. What they play with the hog, I feel like as long as you have a Kiriko, you can kind of mess around and do a lot of different stuff. But um, it. I think hog might be a really strong choice here on control.
Which is so interesting 'cause I feel like in the greater Overwatch community, either online or what have you, like a lot of people are so Hog is worse now or Hog is broken. Like it's two ends of the same spectrum, and here we're kind of seeing Hog just being utilized very smartly, especially from our last series, correct? So it's a matter of what do we do against a Hog who does not die, because he does not die. Like I have seen it, he does not. He simply does not die. Dying as Hog is a choice. So what do we do against that? Well, we have to have some sort of, maybe anti, for example. I think Ana would be really, really great pick against Hog. A Zenyatta for that Discord
Mhm.
extra damage is also excellent against that Hog. But speaking of Hog, does do kind of well on Lijiang Tower, especially on the temple phase where you have that big open space to really play
Mhm.
around with it against around the bridges, around the actual point itself. But here I feel like usually you and I see a lot of the brawl kind of shine on Li Zhang.
Yeah, I think we're likely going to either see, traditional brawl comps coming in, rather that, May, Junkrat sometimes, Symmetra is really popular on this map. We could also just see the poke come out. We could see Sigma poke, still a very strong pick, even into a brawl comp. Just because if you're playing like a Sigma May, you're able to punish any aggression that's coming in from that brawl comp, and you can just keep your Sigma alive because he has so many cooldowns that are, enabling him to just live longer.
Yeah, especially when you're cycling those cooldowns very smartly. The Rock is so good, just negating any kind of entrances from other tanks. Especially against like kind of if you want to go like a dive here, you can just negate like any kind of dive in from a
Mhm.
Winston, a Wee Devo for that Rock, for example. Sigma is just overall very very fun, but I think we're seeing a little bit of a sneak peek of the Vermantra, which we've been talking about. Got some recent really really excellent survivability buffs to his kit. So Ramatcha, hopefully, I do hope we do continue to see the Ramatcha a little bit here, and hope we don't get like a last minute swap. We are seeing a mirror on the DPSs, and then random Moira, which I've been seeing a lot of Moira lately. It's been making me very very excited.
That's a nice tactical Moira.
Yes, I
So I
love
think
tactical Moira.
what we're going to see here is we're going to see Divinity Leviathan going in really fast and just going right past Hive Mind Kitten's front line. And as we see right now, Divinity Leviathan one already in the back line here.
Yeah, and they're already in the white room, which is silver room, which is really, really imperative to have the control over that high ground. So good. I love the Divinity Leviathan. It's just kind of, hunkering down there for a while. Haven't seen them, we're gonna see them back up a little bit because that Mei on the high flank kitten, on the Elko on the Mei is so kind of disruptive in everything with that Mei wall with the flow from her primary. And it's gonna be, even though we did get some good picks for Divinity Leviathan, Hive Mind is gonna be taking that point into favor of themselves first. Scoreboard 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think Divinity Leviathan has quite gotten a 2-0 yet. But they're on a good track for it so far, right? Good fight win there. They do give up the 13%, but regardless, now they can hold a really forward position, and this is what they want out of this brawl composition, right? It's going to be a lot harder for Hive Mind Kittens, :3 to actually break through this hold.
Yeah, for sure. And we were talking about the Vermonter buffs recently, right? The poke that he can match with the Sigma poke is so strong, especially when you have that long hallway from the beginning of the entrance to like the spawn, or not the point, correct? So when you see that little come out constantly, no, Pantene instead, the Coalescence is gonna be taking care of the lamp there, and it goes through shield, so Sigma's shield is not much of help here. We're gonna be also coupling it with the Annihilation. A little bit of overkill as we kind of take care of most of the team of Hive Minds back to their spawn. Even though we give them 2 of our own, 3 of our own, 4 of our own, that point is still, ticking up towards 50% for Divinity Leviathan.
Now, Divinity Leviathan has a lot of ultimates coming in here, right? We have, the Flux, we have the Overclock, we're going to have Blizzard. There's really not that much the Hive Mind Kittens is going to be able to do here, besides their own Blizzard and maybe a beat if they're able to get it off.
Oh, that's a Blizzard being utilized from Seth. Now, we do have to take Frozen. Is everyone going to take that into their favor? No. Unfortunately, that thing does stay alive longer. That allows Okays to take down B1H. And it's, again, going to be continuing to be in favor of... Oh, we switched forwards. Okay, so the Divinity Leviathan is actually on the right side. They're going to be taking it to 38% and counting. Hive Mind Kittens having to flip it back in their favor. And again, they are the ones in the lead right now.
Yeah, and Divinity Leviathan didn't have to use any ultimates that fight, so they're still holding on to everything they had before, and really not much from Hive Mind Kittens coming in.
Okay, we already used block left. That mitigation does allow our Tanger to stay left a lot longer than expected. The Blizzard does come out, and unfortunately, it's going to be with the overclock from Mellow. So trying to get some here off of the Blizzard, but I don't think it's going to be working out in their favor too well. Divinity Leviathan able to just kind of clean it up after that Blizzard. The overclock from Mellow was a good idea to try and keep their team from dying to the Blizzard, but unfortunately, Divinity Leviathan does still have the number to deal with. Hive Mind Kittens approach 80% and counting, and there's a window on in the hallway. That's luck. That's a beat drop. That is a dead Divinity Leviathan team. Justin May on the control point in order to protect a little bit longer, but Elko as well will be falling. That was an intense team fight to win. I'm glad that Hive Mind Kittens was able to clean it up and take the point back in their favor.
Very intense, and Hive Mind Kittens want to play really aggressive with this composition, right? They want to go in, and when you have 2 support ults, that's going to allow you to go in really aggressively. Now, Divinity Leviathan has been doing a good job cycling their ults, but I don't know if they have time to build a lot of them, right? So they really want to just get this Blizzard up, but Hive Mind Kittens is just going to get theirs first. And combo that with the Annihilation is going to be really hard for them to break through this.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And as you're talking about, there's Annihilation, there's a wall off for Sigma, and that allows our take here, B1A, to just kind of play the way that Annihilation needs to be played. You go straight into the team, and you kill everything. Only 10% left to go on this control, on this round 1, and I don't think we're going to even the Lucio from Flame is not going to be enough to contest. There's another Blizzard to make sure no one even gets past that arch into the hallway, and that's going to be map 1 going towards Hive Mind Kittens. Very, very well played. Very great cycling of ultimates, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, really good from both teams. Like we were talking about, Divinity Leviathan was doing a really good job not over-committing into a lot of those fights. They would just use one ultimate, and then if the other team used one, they would just counter it, right? Hive Mind Kittens throughout there they were ulting really late into fights when it was kind of already lost. But then towards the end, they just kind of acknowledged, hey, we just need to go in, right? And they're using these ultimates in a really aggressive manner, and that just kind of won them the fight, right? Divinity Leviathan looking like they're going to be sticking on the same composition here, but Hive Mind Kittens going to be busting out the Pharah Mercy and the Doomfist. So this should be a really fun watch here on Gardens.
The Pharah Mercy, hopefully this should be a game that top 1 guns player, where first of all, I love the name. Top 1 gun player should be kind of being the top 1 gun player here. You have the Pharah Mercy, you have your targets, you have the job set out for you. And it's going to be Ashen taking care of the Doomfist, taking care of VH1. That is already tanked down for the count. And unfortunately, Doomfist being down already, not the best choice here. It's going to be forcing Hive Mind Kittens to just reset, take it right back to spawn, and regroup with their tank as the point is starting to go in favor of the Divinity Leviathan for the second time today. Now, can they keep up that momentum? I'm not sure. Death on the Pharah Mercy going to be getting constant damage boost from that Mercy from memes on the Mercy. And what can Sigma do about this, really? It is up to our DPSs and honestly our BAP as well to deal with the farm Mercy.
Yeah, it really comes down to whether or not Divinity Leviathan either just wins the ground fight against the core of Hive Mind Kittens, or if they just focus down and poke down Zest and Memes here on the farm Mercy, right? And it's really hard to push the core when you have to control point, and then it's really hard to poke down Afara when she can just play all around you, right? As we see the barrage coming in, which might have been a mistake just because of that ultimate. It might be a little bit hard to pull off, but still a really even fight coming out from both sides.
Again, I want to compliment top one gunplayer, literally living up to his name right here, realizing the fact that he also has great movement, the railgun's a great gun in general, taking care of most of the team at my Kittens, and that allows this point to continue to go into the Leviathan's favor. Elko taking care of BH1 once more. BH1 is struggling to stay alive on the defenses. You can see him switch up maybe after the meteor strike, but again, Zest by themselves pretty much inside that enclosed space. You are so easy to distract in such a such a small not open space like the Legion Tower.
And like you were mentioning, top one gunplayer doing a really phenomenal job of keeping Memes in check, and just without Memes, Zest is going to die here on the far, right? Now, a lot of ultimates coming from both sides. Top one gunplayer going to be going down early. That could be a fight winner potentially for Hive Mind Kittens if they push off this.
Meteor strike coming in from the H1 and over 1H, and that's huge. We see guillotine on the Kiriko, going to be cleaning up right after the side, taking both Ashen and Elko down. And this point should be taken in favor of the Hive Mind Kittens if they're able to clean everything up, and Zest definitely does do so with excellent just utilizing your Flora. You don't have a DPS to deal with you, you don't have the Sojourn on top of you or your Mercy, you might as well utilize that to your fullest extent. And now, finally, 95 to 10% and counting. Can Hive Mind Kittens keep this point in their favor long enough is the real question.
Now, importantly, the only ultimate used on either side was that Doom ult, so we are going to be seeing a lot of Qs pop this fight likely. We see the barrage is going to be positioned for here. The overclock from top one gunplayer going to force him out of position.
And there's a continuing rush on the side of Hive Mind Kittens. This is huge. There's that rush visor we always talked about in that last series, and it is a force to be reckoned with. Mello basically takes down Zest's biggest competitor, which is that Sojourn we talked about earlier, and of course Ashen on the Baptiste, and it allows that with only one more ultimate, or two ultimates, I'm sorry, the Visor and the Kitsune, to only be used in this next team fight, and it completely shut down the overclock on top one gunplayer, which could be a game changer, or could have been really great momentum, really great synergy from Hive Mind Kittens. And now Zest on the speed bar once more, gonna be taking down that top one gunplayer, and then just kind of cleaning right up with the extra damage using from Memes on the Mercy. Gonna be popping Valk as well for some added measure. Flame gonna be just dying just to regroup with his team a whole lot faster.
And when you talk about the ultimate economy here, trading out Valkyrie for Flux is a really good trade if you're Hive Mind Kittens, right? So they're coming in, they have Doom ult, they still have the barrage. Good ults from Divinity Leviathan, but into this composition that Hive Mind Kittens is playing, it's going to be really hard to get value out of a lot of these.
Absolutely, we do have window, and then we do see that they might be going in for that little corridor from the white room, but Zest again, Zest is D1H, just playing so beautifully. We get the music once more. Ashen, unfortunately, no Lance to really help him out there, and either way, the low health pack was not going to be able to help Ashen out either. This is a complete turnaround from the beginning of this map. Hive Mind Kittens has been playing so well and maintaining this point, and then also the barrage to make sure no one even patches the archways across the bridge. The ball stop is going to be able to help out and attempt at a contest from the Divinity Leviathans, but it's not going to be enough. Even the Sin teleport completely negated in general. Hive Mind Kittens play that so well in going from 0.95 to 195.
Yeah, Hive Mind Kitten's doing a really phenomenal job doing what Pharmacy wants to do, which is just breaking up those rotations, getting picks in, doing a lot of damage. The Doomfist coming in, finishing a lot of that off. Hive Mind Kitten's really just played that phenomenally once they had control of point. And if you were Divinity Leviathan, there wasn't that much you could do with how well they were playing, right? You had ultimates like the window, the blizzard that you just kind of held on to till the end of the round, because when are you going to be able to use those, right? You try and use them on a Doom when he commits, right? He just leaves. So it's really hard to get value out of those ultimates if you can't get to point, right? So maybe we should have seen some team swamps coming in from Divinity Leviathan, but ultimately it was really just a really strong performance from Hive Mind Kittens, 3 there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to compliment, memes on the Mercy, utilizing the archway, the slanted rooftop, like the arch of the Slijong Tower, to utilize it as both protection and also if you GA, you just slide right off, and it kind of, messes up the timing of people expecting your GA into just like free fall or anything like that. So great stuff all around. The survivability from memes allowed Zest to actually be zesty, like actually utilize Farah and just kind of pop off, like really great synergy from those two specifically was so fun to watch, and honestly did give Divinity Leviathan a run for their money a little bit, even though we did have the Soldier and the Baptiste who were keeping memes and Zest in check for a while there. Once the momentum started rolling and we started having ultimates that were being utilized, one by one and not quite just like all at once, it got that much harder to be the answer to that Farm Mercy, to just negate the Farm Mercy. It was not happening with Zest and memes like this, the entire time.
It's also really hard to deal with a Far Mercy. It doesn't really matter who you are. If you're just standing in the core of your team, right? You're going to be getting hit with damage boosted rockets, which do a lot of damage. You're going to have a Doomfist coming in and punching you guys with an empowered fist. It's going to be really hard to actually get that, pressure. You don't even have to get a pick onto the Far Mercy. It's going to be hard to get the pressure off on them when you're, at 50 HP the entire fight. So again, really, really strong performance from Hive Mind Kittens there. Realizing that they can play that more aggressive style since they don't have to worry about anyone off angling there.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we can kind of see the same thing that could happen on Hybrid as well as we move into our next map. Again, it could be Kings Row because that's kind of everyone's favorite. I hope it is Kings Row. Kings Row is really fun to watch, and I just like looking at the Christmas lights. And we do have, we're talking about things like Hybrid. A lot of things can happen on that defense and offense or that attack. So if we do see, Divinity Leviathan on that defense, I feel like they did do a good job on on map one of defending that control point up until 99%, correct? So,
Mhm.
I feel like they could do the same thing with so much more space given to them rather than, just kind of being closed in one little area or having, some high angles to go through. With hybrid, you can do so much more and you can really defend for the entire 3 minutes you have to activate the objective.
Mhm, and we are going to see Kings Row coming out as the map pick here. So what I'm expecting, I'm not going to see. I'd be a little bit surprised to see the Far Mercy come out again, right? I'm going to assume that we're going to be seeing the Ramantra into the Sigma again. We saw it on Control Center. Clearly, these teams are comfortable in a more brawl-centric map, playing both of those compositions, right? So I would not at all be surprised to see those coming out. And if I do see that, I have to give a slight edge to the Ramantra comp right now. I think it has a slightly better chance of being able to deal with the Sigma comp here.
Yeah, for sure. And, we keep saying it, the new Ramatra buffs and to his survivability, the armor to his Omnic form allows him to actually go toe to toe with a good number of the other tanks, especially Sigma. So, I definitely agree with you here where the Ramatra, especially on the defense, would honestly be so stationed and so structured in that defense that it's gonna be very difficult for Divinity Leviathan to really push through the Hive Mind Kittens :3. However, on the opposite end, I feel like again you have so much more time to play with. You have a lot of compositions to play with as well for the Divinity Leviathans, and I want to see more of that Sigma. I want to see that Sigma work, and I feel like it will work given all the little spaces and all the corners that Kings Row will provide for everyone.
Yeah, a lot of space, a lot of cover coming in on Kings Row. It's really good for these brawl compositions, obviously. And it looks like actually we're not going to be seeing that Ramantra we were talking about before. It looks like Hive Mind Kitten's going to be opting into the Sigma here on the defense, which a bit of a better, defense, a little bit better for Poke. I'm
Yeah, for
completely
sure.
wrong. They switch sides. Divinity Leviathan on the defense here is going to be playing the Poke, but Hive Mind Kittens here is going to be opting into the Doomfist on the attack comp, and they are going to be coming out with the Farm Mercy.
Yes, and even though I was like hinting at like the Farm Mercy, I didn't actually think they would go Farm Mercy. Just because I feel like even here, the DPS on the Leviathan, that top one gun, and in Ash and the two hit scans here, can kind of deal with it in a much easier light because of the high angles that are easier to kind of get to than a control point. But I believe in the Zest and memes. I believe them in the Far Mercy, and honestly, it's worked once. Why can't it work again? Mellow on the off angle as well, just kind of putting pressure on that open-ended angle that the Definitive I think are trying to stay in cover for. So now they have a bunch of angles to deal with, and on top of that, they have the top angle of Zest and memes, which is working out very well. Put a lot of pressure for Mellow to get some good picks here. Elko's down, and that's a Mei wall, a Mei slow that you can't utilize in this next fight. So Hive Mind Kitten is, again, going to be already getting that first tick, pocket the second tick, without even a single contest from the Divinity Leviathans.
Yeah, and Divinity Leviathan really cannot just stay still here, right? They either have to take the fight aggressively or just back up and give space and keep poking, right? And just now they're going to be starting to take the space, but with that first fight, they're just letting Hive Mind Kittens, Colon 3 do kind of whatever they want with those flanks.
Absolutely, and finally, I'm glad they, as you said, they finally actually came and to the point, and look what happened. Our tank, our Doomfist B1H, did go down very quickly to top one gunner player who's playing so aggressive with the sort of railgun, and now we have a kind of a reset here where we're playing a little bit behind, we're playing towards our spawn, and they're getting again two really good picks here, both on Mellow and B1H. This is how the Divinity Leviathan is going to be able to keep this point, even though there's two ticks and about 85% on the second one, or I'm sorry, the third one. They are going to be continuing this onslaught. Still 2.5 minutes to deal with Hive Mind Kittens and what kind of push they can make here. We're seeing an off angle once more, and there's a visor coming in from Mellow, but a little bit too far. I don't think anyone's going to be able to contest or be able to get any picks there, as Top One Gun does get a singular window just for himself. I love that.
Really good window in response there. Now Zest is going to be getting a few picks with the barrage, and it looks like Hive Mind Kittens just purely off of brute force ultimates is going to win. But that window coming in from Ashen was phenomenal to deal with the visor there. Fight's still kind of trickling on, but with this Far Mercy and the continuing rush now getting popped, it's going to be really hard to contest this any further.
Yeah, absolutely. The continuing rush just allows so much, extra speed, less cooldown, more healing kind of from Kiriko with faster healing. So really great stuff from Hive Mind Kittens, having to utilize pretty much about 3 ultimates there in order to cap the point, or 4 technically with Zest barrage before falling afterwards. That's all they kind of need to do, and now you're racing the position here from Zest, going to be throwing out those barrages, those damage boosted barrages, in order to kind of negate this whole entrance from main from the Divinity Leviathan to even contest the payload. But damn, that was good.
It was a good icicle, and now coming in with the Blizzard, it's going to be really hard. Well, good trade out there, right? But we still have the overclock for the Divinity Leviathan. They are able to take some space here, and they should be able to contest, assuming they actually use either of their ultimates.
Alright, we're seeing that meteor strike. You saw B1H's health did go right back up to around half or more than half. Just, again, a byproduct of that little buff they get with ultimate, which is so good from the stay in the fight instead of retreating in pivotal moments. Speaking of pivotal moments, that's an overclock, and you already see our flyers are trying to get out of dodge immediately, but they're in the corner. Can Top One Gun player get the pick? No, but it does allow the barrage to come out and get 3 big picks here for Hive Mind Kittens to continue this part. Elko does have the Blizzard. I feel like we were about to use it in last minute resort, but I'm glad we didn't quite yet. We're going to be seeing a switch here from Top One Gun player going over to the Ashe instead for that more long-range game plan, rather than the Sojourn, who could kind of, kind of just gets taken off a little bit easier.
Yeah, able to more consistently deal with the Far Mercy here on the Ashe. I think Zest might have heard me talk about how Barrage wasn't a great ultimate last round, and might have taken that a little bit personally. That's another 3k coming in from the Barrage here. And now Divinity Leviathan still has some good ultimates to re-engage here, but with how fast Hive Mind Kittens is playing, that might be a little bit difficult for them.
Oh my goodness, and as you were saying, yeah, Top One Gun on the Ashe is actually doing a lot of work. We saw the health pool from Zek just go down. But the res does come in, we get the dynamite, we get the burning, and that is a lot of extra damage and a lot of ult charge that Top One Gun player is gonna be getting off of just the burning, off of just getting a bunch of hits on Zest on the Pharah. Look at this, the momentum has completely shifted in favor of the Divinity Leviathan after this Ashe switch. All they gotta do is just contest car a little bit longer before it gets to point B, but unfortunately, there is a Blizzard coming from Elko, which is going to secure this objective for this hold for Divinity Leviathan.
Yeah, Hive Mind Kittens was doing a really good job trying to invest further into the fight, but at some point that you need to acknowledge the fact that Blizzard is still being held on to, right? And if we're not, respecting that Blizzard, that's going to be really difficult to win. And now we are going to be seeing the swap to the Cassidy, right? focus a little bit more on the pharmacy. But if you're not respecting some of these ultimates that are coming in, it's going to be really hard to actually flip these fights that you're trying to.
The tracking on Mello was very, very beautiful to watch, by the way. I want to acknowledge that real fast before we get into this next team fight. We do have Bob already on cart, possibly contesting. As you can see, Bob is out there. It does make Zest able to utilize that barrage on Bob himself. Poor Bob is taking and going down for the count. We're seeing a really quick swap here, and I like the swap because this next fight, this next area of the fight is so brawl favored. I feel like we can all agree there. It can roll so deeply, so heavily in Hive-Mind Kitten's favor.
And now you've also flipped Divinity Leviathan's composition. They're not playing as strong of a poke comp anymore because they've been forced to respect that pharmacy. Elko going to be switching back to the Mei, but at this point, you're losing out some ult charge, and you have to come back from spawn. You're giving so much space to Hive-Mind Kittens here.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, after a recent change, it's no longer 25% ult charge. You get only 15%. As you're saying, that rock does come in a little bit of handy to, you know, try to get the pressure off of you for a while there, but when the entirety of Hive-Mind is on top of you, you're forced to retreat back into this little corner. There is the both shields coming in. The car is still being pushed the whole time. There's a window on top of the tank. What do we do here? We cannot contest. We have to contest now or never. That car is not really moving. However, no one in Divinity Leviathan is dying. I'm sorry, and Hive-Mind Kittens is dying. The Coalition from Guillotine is going to be also being coupled with the Blizzard. Now, this is definitely a moment to cap the point to 3 points. 3-0 with a minute and 20 seconds to spare. That was just a lot of ultimates being utilized just to cap to 3 points with time to spare.
Yeah, really good swap there too onto the Ramattra composition, right? They're able to really take the fight into Divinity Leviathan's core, and there's not much that they can do about it because they swapped off that Mei to respect the pharmacy, right? So now they've put themselves in really good position here on their defense where they're able to, you know, if they can just stall out time, worst case scenario, if you get full caps in overtime, you still have over a minute to get at least one tick on first point. So really strong push coming out from Hive-Mind Kittens. And now Divinity Leviathan is forced on the back foot, and they have to come back with a very strong push of their own.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes that's like the con of doing attack first is that, I'm sorry, of defense first, where it's like, oh my god, the attack was so good that we had to match that attack and at least get a minute or more on the clock before it goes into, like, you know, less than a minute territory. Because the less time you have, the more difficult it is for that next round, technically round 3, right? So we're gonna be seeing kind of a similar comp here with the Ramattra Sigma, similar DPSs, similar support besides the Mora and Baptiste, which should put these guys in a very, very similar headspace. That brawl competition is going to be working out so well for both comps here, ideally, correct? So I love, oh, we are doing the explosive hidey hole method, which is one of my favorites.
We love hidey holing.
We love hidey holing in this house.
I think, you know, a plan like the hidey hole, for example, is going to be really good for Hive-Mind Kittens because they just want to explode into the backlines, ideally, right? You want to go past the Sigma and just start punching in the back, and this is exactly what they're going to be able to do right now immediately.
And you saw the instant that Divinity Leviathan stepped out from the safety of those like the archway or like the fence, they exploded and just kind of annihilated the entirety of Divinity Leviathan. And I think they're just gonna go right back and do it again. What do you do when the entirety of Hive-Mind Kittens just falls right on top of your tank, who only has so many things to deal with 1 or 2 people, not quite 5 people on top of him at once? That's kind of where Sigma does fall a little bit. And now we see that Divinity Leviathan being a little more careful, playing a little more poke, is going to be going right in. The Mei wall does not connect the way we were intending it to for Zest. So it's going to be allowing Top 1 there to punish that and get Zest out of here immediately. The rock doesn't really connect with anyone, but it does allow Divinity Leviathan to push Hive-Mind Kittens back. As you can see here, around Hotel, we're going to be facing it off with Elko, who's already stationed there, ready to just team out. Oak does take out Guillotine, and Guillotine, without the Mora healing, is gonna be a big factor here for the fact that B1H and Mello cannot sustain themselves any longer. We only shade off about 30 seconds off of that first team fight, maybe a minute, but that's gonna be a full cap for Divinity Leviathan, very similar to Hive-Mind Kittens.
Yeah, really good opening pick from Top 1 Gunplayer. When you're playing into a composition that's that aggressive and it has to play that far forward, you really either have to get that opening pick or just rotate around them. So that's exactly what you needed. Killing Guillotine before he's able to pop the Coalescence as well is huge. Now a lot of ultimates coming in. Expect to see the Coalescence popped, and then off of Divinity Leviathan. Could be the window, could be the blizzard, could be the overclock. It really depends on how they want to respond with this. And it's going to be the Gravitic Flux here.
And the Gravitic Flux coupled with both support ultimate, the Cold Essence, and the Sound Barrier, and that's a lot of ults being utilized. The Immortality does keep Ukko alive a little bit longer here, but there's also the window on the side of Divinity Leviathan. So now, both teams have to respect each other, and that Hive Kittens did fall back against those tall walls in order to get some extra cover from the window, but that, guess what, allows the onslaught, the push from Divinity Leviathan to be like, oh, you're retreating? That's okay. We still have the peak of the window to really capitalize on you guys. And now I love that the Divinity Leviathan is going to be pushing forward again to clear all this way to cap this to point B. Hive Kittens does have good amount of ult usage here, but they don't really have the sound barrier that Flame has. So that Annihilation or that Overclock or that Blizzard can easily be kind of deflected for a little bit longer than the sound barrier.
Now, Hive Mind Kittens have really good ultimates to engage back into the fight, and we're going to see the Blizzard get tossed in immediately. Doesn't get the most value in the world, but they still have the Annihilation, they still have the Overclock here if they want to commit into it, but I don't think they'll need to.
No, but they definitely do. The Overclock does get committed, and Mello has to get a really good pick here on Elko, and honestly the rest of the Divinity Leviathans in order to get some sustainability or to get something started here. Unfortunately, Mello does not in fact get anything off the Overclock, but it's going on offing on the high ground here, and I love the pressure forcing the Divinity Leviathan, even though only about lost 1 or 2 people were able to continue the team fight, even though Hive Kittens did utilize both the Blizzard and the Overclock. And we're going to continue this team fight into the almost into the next capture point, and actually going to be used immediately. There's no sound barrier to really negate the damage, negate the absolute terror that is Annihilation. So that's going to be allowing Hive Minds to once again finally defend the point.
And really good response ultimate with the Annihilation from B1H. You know, you lose your Mei really early and you immediately just send it into the enemy team with the Annihilation and force them back onto the back foot. Now coming up here, the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier are both going to be coming on for the same time for Hive Mind Kittens. Divinity Leviathan coming up on those 3 ultimates that they use to crack open first point, though, with the Gravitic Flux, Overclock, and the window. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Hive Mind Kittens plays a little bit more aggressive here and forces them, or forces Divinity Leviathan to respond to them.
Yeah, for sure. There's a Flux already, and is there a response? There is. It's going to be the Coalescence, and Ashen does go down, so that window will not be utilized in this next fight, which is so imperative in this long hallway of the streets. And again, it's going to be Elko going down by B1H once more. It's a really great hold from Hive Mind Kittens, only utilizing just the Coalescence as a response to the Gravitic Flux from OKs. So again, a really, really great hold from the Hive Mind Kittens. They have to only shave off another minute and a half. That's all they have to do, and it sounds, you know, much easier said than done, but I believe it can in fact be done to secure the 2-0 here. But before all that, we still have about a minute and a half to go.
Again, really good response. Guillotine popping the Coalescence, and they just send it into the enemy team, which is exactly what you want to do. Now, Divinity Leviathan has the Blizzard. Now, they're not going to be able to get a chance to use it. They counter Blizzard, but at this point, it's already kind of a lost fight for Divinity Leviathan. They've lost both of their Lucio and their Sigma. They kind of just have to reset and take the fight another time, which is devastating for them, countering the Blizzard with their own and not getting any value out of it. So now, with B1H getting another late pick here, you have the window, you have the Overclock. That's a good combo, but you're going to Annihilation Overclock. And with how aggressive Hive Mind Kittens is playing right now, expect to see them just full send it in. It's going to be a lot harder to get a window Overclock off if there's somebody directly in your face.
Yeah, for sure. And like we were saying, we do have the window Overclock at least, but now we have a bunch of ultimates being lined up for Hive Mind Kittens. We had Annihilation, which immediately gets popped right past the window. That window does get utilized. The Overclock does take out Guillotine Memes, and B1H Flame and Ashen just cleaning right up after that Overclock from top 1 gun player, and what we thought wasn't going to be able to really worked out so well. Even though that, you know, B1H was right in their face, Hive Mind Kittens was right in front of their face, walked past the window. Top 1 gun player was like, well, I have slot, I can back up a little bit, and I can still have that range for that Overclock to work out very nicely. Last fight here before we can go to overtime or we can cap point. We utilize the Coalescence. Zest does go down very quickly though, and Guillotine having used the Coalescence in order to help out Ramatra. There's a sound barrier from Flame. This fight is gonna go on for a while now. We do have the Flux, hopefully make everyone C9 off the point and allow Divinity Leviathan to cap right here, right now. There's the Flux I was talking about earlier. Everyone does go up, and we do lose our tank and our DPS. They are gonna contest for a little bit while longer. We're trying with means with Guillotine, but it's not gonna be enough. We cap for a minute and a half into checkpoint B. Now from B to C. Let's see what happens here.
No, really good stall fight coming in from Highmind Kittens. They get a lot of ultimates out of Divinity Leviathan, but the fight before that, I think legitimately what it came down to was it was a good plan to go in with the Annihilation, but they went in too early, right? So you're able to just shoot your backline with the overclock window. Meme's going to die early here, might force Highmind Kittens on the back foot, and Divinity Leviathan immediately taking that space.
At the very least, we only have less than a minute left to get to point three, or the last point, and there is of course a blizzard being used by Elko. We do not see anyone really get hit by it. Oh, Moira does kind of get slowed a little bit down, and then goes down for the count. Guillotine and Memes down. B1H did get a blizzard, but again got really separated from the support. So we have a minute to minute 39 for this next round, and Highmind Kittens and Divinity Leviathan have both showcased that they can cap point very quickly, so whatever happens after they cap point is really up to the universe.
No, I think Highmind Kittens had a stronger first point hold than Divinity Leviathan did. They had a really good plan busting out into the backline with that Ramattra, and they were able to shave off, a minute or so just based off of that, as we see the payload going back and forth with presence a little bit. I think Highmind Kittens here is going to have likely a stronger defense if they keep doing what they were doing before. Divinity Leviathan really needs to make sure on their defense here, they're going to be attacking first. So they need to be making sure that they're rotating around this composition as... Forget anything I just said. Highmind Kitten's going to be coming out on the Sigma comp, it looks like. So we will be seeing a Sigma v Sigma mirror. So should just be about poking. Still, if you are Divinity Leviathan, you shouldn't be afraid to rotate around through theater, go through the hotel, this theater, all the way to the right side, take that high ground, right? That's a really good angle to control. And it's gonna be really hard to punish that if you're Highmind Kittens.
Yeah, for sure. Divinity Leviathan going on to the Lifeweaver. Very big fan of Lifeweaver. Flame, you trolled me! Flame's going to stay onto Lucio, and I completely agree here. You want to rush in and see, just rush right past that first defense of Highmind Kittens. We did see top one gun player on the Widow trying to get a very early pick here due to the very lack of time they do have. So they gotta go right in. Going back to the Ashe, there's a lamp there to keep sustain our team a little bit longer, and it works out nicely. That allows them to keep staying the team fight a bit longer, but that, unfortunately, you jumped up. Mello is going to be taking you down for the count. Elko and OK do go down right after the fact, and then that's also a really good hold for Highmind in the very beginning. Now, you do have 20 seconds left, give or take. You can definitely do one more really strong push, but the charge right here is definitely in favor of the Blizzard on Highmind Kittens if they can build it up that fast, and if the team fight goes down for that long. So let's see what happens to the next team fight going on very quickly. And Elko already down. B1H also down off of the top one on the Ashe. This is crazy, but unfortunately top one gun player does go down once more. We're on the point, however. We're on the point. It's doable. It's possible, Toast. We can definitely get at least one tick. One tick is all we need. There's a window and you're dead. Come on, Flame. Flame just has to contest a little bit longer while we waste time trying to get our Tracer, Elko on Tracer to contest point. No, not the point. Thank you. Someone is on point. Flame, again, does go down. And like I was saying, Zest had the Blizzard in hand pretty much. Unfortunately, no tick on point, but the hold for Highmind was so good.
Let's get drawable. We can draw.
Drawable.
Drawable. Divinity Leviathan had a chance there. They get B1H down pretty early, and then they get Guillotine in a little bit later. But like you mentioned before the fight started, the Blizzard charge was just way closer for Highmind Kittens, and that is ultimately what's going to seal up that fight for them, right? It's really hard to stall at a point if there's a Blizzard freezing you directly on it. So really good hold there from Highmind Kittens, and now Divinity Leviathan, with the rest of their tournament basically on the line here, have to hold them fully with almost 2 minutes in time.
Yeah, for sure. And again, easier said than done, but it's doable. We see Highmind Kittens going back to the previous comp we did see in the very beginning of King's Row map. They're going to the Doomfist, they're going to Farm Mercy, and then we're seeing my goat, the Ana, of course. And very interesting indeed. They're going to be going in from a lot of angles. Mello on the soldier we had seen previously when they were on attack beforehand. Showcase that off angle and being on all that extra pressure being put on the Leviathan actually work out well for Zest and Memes in order to put more pressure from the high angle. So this, ideally on paper, should work out for Highmind Kittens to cap point with an extra 30 seconds than Leviathan had.
Yeah, and importantly, we're seeing Guillotine on the Ana now. No more Kiriko. So those anti-nades can be deadly against a composition that's this bunkered down like this poke comp here that we have.
Right, for sure. They can they at least have mechanics can afford to take a little bit more time for Mello to set up, which definitely is. Sprinting onto the high ground, going to be taking it through Hotel B1H, going to be taking it in a different angle. So they're going to be taking it from this angle, the high ground. They're going to be taking it from Mello's angle, and they're going to be taking from B1H's angle. That's a lot of eyes to have to keep an eye on, and then Guillotine on the Ana as well for like those deadly anti-nades we were talking about earlier. Should be making it work, but unfortunately, they did not come in clutch for Mello there, falling to flame on Lucio. Trying to keep our Doomfist alive. We're not gonna take point. We're kind of just poking around, and B1H does go down to the Ash Dynamite. We have shaved off about 45 seconds off this clock for Divinity Leviathan to keep this hold into a hopefully a good draw. But Guillotine does not make it out, in fact, with the grandma legs, and that's another really great hold for Divinity Leviathan. Just have to do with another 30 seconds is all they need.
Yeah, and Ultimate's way closer for Divinity Leviathan here. You're going to likely get the Bob up this fight, maybe a Barrage and a Nano Boost for Hive Mind Kittens, but you really have to make sure you're playing slow and contesting slowly if you want to get those up. Immediately, though, B1H is going to not listen to anything I say and just kill top one gunplayer, which, I mean, if you can do it, I think that works perfectly fine.
Because guess what? You have essentially lost two people. You've lost Ash and you lost Bob immediately. You don't have anyone contest the point for any longer. And suddenly into this next team fight, Hive Mind Kittens just kind of rolls beautifully and okay, gets a little bit too far into that hotel, does not stay on point, can't contest any longer for the rest of Divinity Leviathans to maybe come back to point with maybe a Tracer switch, you know, maybe even like the Sim teleport switch, anything like that to contest a little longer. So Hive Mind Kittens once again showcasing really great synergy, really great dive mechanics into that last switch, and capping point. You know, getting that first tick is all they need, and they got it.
Yeah, and I apologize if you're any dogs barking on my end, but B1H doing a really good job at the end there. Just if he sees somebody out of position, he was punishing that. I want to say he ended up with like 3 to 4 final blows in that last fight alone, getting those important frags too, like you mentioned, on top one Gunslayer, on the Ash, on Elko, the one that's going to be able to contest your Farm Mercy. Those are really what cracked that point completely open. So really phenomenal job coming in from Hive Mind Kittens :3, acknowledging uh, when they were able to go in and when they weren't. Really only one fight that I can think of in the entire series where they went in when they shouldn't have, but they were doing a really phenomenal job controlling the tempo there.
Absolutely, and that's kind of and we also saw a bunch of like their diversity and their flexibility with a bunch of different comps. We saw the Ramattra Brawl comp do very well. We did see the Far Mercy. We did see the Doomfist dive alongside the Ana on the back end with the nade and with the survivability. It was just all around very great stuff from Hive Mind Kittens that unfortunately was not really answered to for too long, at least, by the Divinity Leviathans. Now, we I mean, going into Kings Row, it just kind of happens. No one really got snowballed like we did in the last series, but it was still such a strong hold from both teams, a strong attack phase from both teams, that going into our, this night, round three, all tensions were high. All the anxiety was there. You wanted to, cap point. You want to make it even drawable for Leviathan, so we can get a game, technically a game 4 into like Flashpoint. But nope, that is Hive Mind Kittens just did really, really well overall.
Yeah, honestly, really close series there. Obviously our first series wasn't quite that even, but on Kings Row going to double overtime, I want to say it was 99 to 99 on both control points that we played, right? So Divinity Leviathan, for their credit, did a very good job that series. It wasn't close by any means, or it wasn't one-sided by any means. Our next game coming up after a short break is going to be Shikigami versus Inazaki. My pronunciation might be a little bit bad there, but that'll be coming up after a short break. Thank you for sticking around. We have more streams. Please check them out. We're better than them, but check them out, and we will see you guys after this short break.
Unfortunately, due to technical issues, we actually cannot continue some of the matches on B stream. But on the other hand, we still have our sister stream still up, running the other side of not the other side, but the other half of our contestants over in bracket. So please, please, please go check out our sister stream at Blitz Tourney, twitch.tv. But otherwise, we do have to end it for today on B stream. Please go support our sister stream in the meantime. Please, again, thanks to production for everything we could do. But unfortunately, things happen. The internet is the internet. Please follow us on our socials. Toast, it's been a great time. You were fantastic. But yeah, sorry we suck. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, but please have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you guys later.